And St. Martin got nailed by a hurricane in the late 2010s. I forget exactly the year in which storm it was, but like it was not in a state to host cruise ships and excursions and all the rest of that stuff for a little while. And I think so happy to see St. Martin coming back because they host, quite frankly, one of my absolute favorite shore excursions.
Welcome back, everybody, to this week's episode of the DCL Duo podcast, brought to you by We Do Travel Right. And Sam, it's listener review time, so you know what you gotta do.
It's jingle time. I feel like it's been a while
it's been a few weeks, so you're losing the flow of the show here. But
I am. All right. Simply the best, better than all the rest.
Yeah, not your best performance.
Oh, my goodness.
You didn't get time to do your vocal.
I did.
So I wasn't harmonizing. I can add harmonization in there if you want.
I know. Yeah, I need Alicea. Yeah, no. I will say I absolutely love when people comment on our Instagram or our Facebook or in our reviews with the words "simply the best" because I know that what they're referencing, obviously, and I love it.
Well, here you go, Sam. I don't think they use that phrase in this review, but let's find out together. This one comes from Miami Merger, and it reads, "Cure for Clues Blues. Cruise. Yeah, that one's a tongue twister. All right, we went on our first Disney cruise in March 2024. Since then, we've been on 3 more cruises on both Disney and Royal, and have 3 more scheduled. Clearly, we caught the cruise bug. Sam, Brian, and their various guests feed this cruise-addicted soul each week. The podcast feels like tuning in to old friends, sharing stories with one another. I can't wait for the next episode each week. Thanks for all the time you put into the podcast. I only hope I'll end up on a cruise with you one day and can thank you in person." Well, we will thank you now for that lovely review. We really appreciate it. And as we said before on the show, these reviews are kind of what keep us going. We're not in it for the money because we donate the money to charity, but we love building the community we have, and we're super appreciative of everyone out there who reaches out, emails, leaves us a review, comments on social media. It's what keeps us going and making this podcast week to week.
Yeah, thank you, Miami Merger. Love it.
Yeah. And so with that, I'll just remind you all out there, one of the easiest ways to help support the show, head over to Apple Podcasts, hit those 5 stars. If you leave us a written review along with your 5 stars, we will read it on the air at the top of one of our main episodes. And if you're on one of those other podcasting platforms, YouTube, Spotify, all the places, just whatever they give you, popcorn bucket, thumbs,
hearts,
confetti,
stars,
hearts, yeah, bear hugs. We want it all. So head over there, give us those ratings. We love it, and it helps put the show in front of more people when they're searching for Disney Cruise Line content. So with that, and speaking of conversations between friends, Sam, we got some friends joining us today on the show, and so you want to introduce our topic and our guests for today.
Yeah, I'm super excited. We've got our friends, our neighbors, our fellow podcasters, Nathan and Alicea from Adventures and Mousecapades with us today to talk about their recent week-long sailing on the Disney Destiny. Welcome back to the show, Nathan and Alicea.
Thank you.
Thank you. We're so excited to have you guys back. It's always fun to chat with you. I made sure we scheduled enough time for this show because when the 4 of us get to talking, it's kind of a problem. It's me. I'm the problem. It's me. But yeah, we just love talking.
First step, Sam, admitting him.
That's right. We love talking to you guys about all things Disney, but of course, especially Disney cruising, since that's our first love. Now, it's been a little bit since you've been on the show, so why don't you sort of reintroduce yourselves to our audience, tell them about your podcast, where they can find you and what you guys cover, and then we'll dive into your cruise history. Let's start with Nathan.
Sure. So, hi, I'm Nathan. I am the Brian, I guess you'd call it, of the Adventures and Mousecapades podcast. We have been cruising since 2009. We're up to 18 or 20, depending on who you ask, and whether we count the fact that I was left at home by my wife for 2 cruises for back to back. Yeah, and my daughter. Yeah, but I'm still platinum, so it's okay. My daughter's not, so even better. I mean, I love her, but she'll get there in time. But yeah, we our podcast, Adventures and Mousecapades, you can find all the links to all the stuff at ourmousecapades.com. We cover all the Disney stuff. So Disney parks, Disney cruising. We talk to cast members. We talk to authors. We talk to reporters. We talk to folks who run data science about what goes on in the parks, like all sorts of things. It's just a really great excuse to have interesting conversations with people. And it's, all about Disney.
Yeah. And then, of course, Alicea is the on-air talent, just like me, right, Alicea?
Exactly.
A little quieter on-air talent than Nathan, but that's okay.
I hope you got a better rider than I do, Nathan.
Only green M&Ms, Brian. Only
that's right. That's right.
Topo Chicos for days.
Topo Chicos for days.
I'll add the color commentary here and there.
I have to say, I do have my coffee today, not my Topo Chico, since we're recording in the morning. But Alicea, why don't you tell us why you chose this itinerary, 7 nights on the Destiny? There are only 2 offered, I believe, this summer, and they're the first 2 week-long sailings available on the Destiny.
Yes. Well, we hadn't been on the Destiny yet. Brand new ship. We wanted to spend as much time as possible on it. We'd done the Treasure and done a 7-night there, and it still wasn't enough time. And we knew doing only a 4 or 5-night itinerary on the Destiny just would not have worked. So when we saw that they had a 7-night available, we went for that. We had a specific vacation in mind. We were doing a couple of other things in there, and timing worked out great. So we did the second 7-day that they offered for the Destiny.
Plus so they did a 7-night Western and then a 7-night Eastern. And the 7-night Western they're sailing out of Fort Lauderdale, but it's, from what I remember, was pretty much the typical Western Caribbean itinerary of where it went. And the Eastern was very different from the runs that the Treasure has been doing, in that we got to go to Lookout instead of Castaway. We got to go to St. Martin instead of Tortola. And we haven't been back to St. Martin since 2010, because St. Martin used to be on the Eastern Caribbean itinerary. And so that was like our second cruise ever went to St. Martin. And we'll, I'm sure, cover some stuff there because it was an amazing day. And then it had San Juan, Puerto Rico. So for our kids, I mean, Caitlin was 5 when she went. She doesn't remember any of this stuff. She's 21 now, which was also wrapped into the whole, like, we had a 2-week long vacation that we did down in Florida, and then this cruise. So this was just a magical experience to do some stuff that we haven't done in a very long time. And yeah, it was the right place for us to go.
The kids hadn't hit any of the ports before.
Oh, wow.
So,
yeah.
Well, St. Martin. Sorry. Caitlin had done St. Martin, but like Nathan said, she was 5.
Yeah. Very, very different experience. Yeah. It's interesting because, Disney has been doing for the last several years, St. Thomas, Tortola, and Castaway on that Eastern Caribbean itinerary. And in the past, they have done, as you mentioned, Nathan, they've done St. Martin as one of their regular stops. And it sounds like they've actually just committed to going back to St. Martin more. So we'll see, I think that seems to correspond, of course, with the Believe coming on board. So, of course, there's predictions about what ships will go where, and we don't know exactly what will happen yet. But a ship will be going to St. Martin more regularly than they have been, at least, which has only been like once or twice a year, maybe.
And St. Martin got nailed by a hurricane in the late 2010s. I forget exactly the year in which storm it was, but like it was not in a state to host cruise ships and excursions and all the rest of that stuff for a little while. And I think, if memory serves, that's when Disney kind of ramped down on St. Martin. And I'm so happy to see St. Martin coming back, because they host, quite frankly, one of my absolute favorite shore excursions ever. So
which we'll get into later, I'm sure.
Yeah.
All right. Well, let's start with the planning side of things. You were sailing, the 4 of you, but I think you also had some friends sailing with you as well. Is that right? Or were the friends with you just for the Disney portion of the Disney World portion of the trip?
They were with us for the Orlando portion of the trips.
Gotcha.
Yeah.
Okay.
They lived there. So it was, I think at one point there was a possibility of some folks going with, and it it didn't work out. But yeah, so it was just the four of us. But we did, for the first time, 2 staterooms, which was very nice.
Oh, interesting. I love that. Well, let's start with then the planning side of things. Were you have a 7-night sailing, so you've got a couple of days at sea, so opportunities for, Apollo brunch or an enchanté brunch or lunch, I guess they're calling it now. You've got lots of drink tasting opportunities, you've got shore excursions to book, right? Did you guys book all of the things? Your platinum, so you had, I guess technically it's the third booking window because concierge is first, then pearl, then platinum. Were you guys able to book what you wanted to book at your booking window?
Yes. So, like Nathan said, we had 2 staterooms, and Nathan and I are the only ones that are platinum. So we basically broke us up for the bookings. I was in a stateroom with Sterling, and Nathan was in a stateroom with Caitlin. This would make it much easier for booking. And yes, we booked all the things. This was Caitlin's kind of 21st birthday celebration. So she's seen us go to tastings so many times and has really wanted to do some of these. So we booked 3 tastings. We ended up with 4. We booked an we booked a world of old fashioned. We booked a mixology. We booked a chocolate and liquor. And the chocolate and liquor was very important, she said. We had to do that
Yes.
one.
Okay.
And Apollo wise, we did a brunch and a dinner. She did.
And prima notte.
And prima notte,
Oh.
that's right.
Wow.
Yeah. Caitlin had been to a brunch before. She had not been to a dinner or prima notte. What else did we book? I think that was booking things, right? Is there anything else?
Did you book excursions through Disney or were you booking those outside of Disney?
We did not, because the one excursion that we wanted was not available at that time on Disney's website.
Interesting.
Yeah.
All right.
It was very interesting because then we were there on the island, and the group that was before us was clearly from the ship because they had Disney stickers on their shirt. I'm like, oh, I guess it showed up on the list, but it was after.
Yeah. Sometimes they'll do that, right? Like a vendor is not sure if they're going to be able to offer an excursion, and then it happens, or they're in negotiations with Disney. And so sometimes, right, like sometimes the concierge or the platinum or the pearl booking windows will open and there won't be a certain excursion and they'll pop up later. But unfortunately, there's no way of like knowing that unless you're like stalking the app. I wish there was a way that Disney would notify people of like, oh, additional excursions have been added, because then you would go back and you'd look and maybe you'd switch it up if you'd already booked something. All right.
It also makes sense because they haven't been back to St. Martin in so long that they were working on contracts and all the rest of that stuff. So
we didn't think to check back later. We just went and booked with them directly.
Yeah, perfect. Well, we'll get into that. You guys went to Disney. You guys were like down in Orlando for a while before the cruise, so we're not going to cover that part of the of your vacation, because that would take like 4 episodes. I'm sure you guys have covering that well, probably on your own podcast. Yes. But let's start with like where did you stay right before embarkation? Right before and how did you get down to Fort Lauderdale, because you were coming from the Orlando area down to Fort Lauderdale?
So we rented a car for 2 weeks, and I did the math. It was still cheaper and paying for parking during the cruise was still cheaper than doing the Bright Line and then Ubers and stuff like that. And like you guys, like the Bright Line was amazing when it first started, and then we got burned pretty bad. And I just, especially given their elevated price points right now, I was just not interested in playing that game. And so, yeah, we actually saved money and had our own private transportation that I just drove. And it's not a horrible drive. So,
yeah. I want to put it out there that we never heard back from their media folks when they asked them to comment. They said they would get back to us with a, comment on, because we had such a poor experience with the fact that we had paid for like checking luggage, and then it was like, well, it's full. And it was like, what do you mean it's full? We pre-reserved this. How did you not keep space for our luggage? Right. Well, and they did it to everyone, not just us. But we never, they said, we'll get back to you. Never, ever heard back. Thank you very much, Brightline. And that's all you'll hear from me about. I will not send my business there again. Well, okay, so you drive down yourselves. Did you drive the day of or the night before?
Night before.
Yeah. Where did you guys stay in the port area?
We stayed at Pier 66. This was a recommendation from a friend of both of our shows, Wes. And this was kind of a bougie hotel.
It's a bougie hotel. We got to stay there right before actually the christening cruise. It was like we stayed there one night. Disney put us up there, actually. So shout out to Disney for putting us up there. But bougie is definitely the word. It's really nice. What you guys think in terms of the amenities? That was the fanciest toilet I've ever seen. I gotta tell you that.
Definitely the most expensive toilet. Yeah. We loved it. I think it is definitely not our kids' style. They were a little uncomfortable with the level of panache, if you will, whatever, however you say that word. But I think the biggest note that we took away, especially from talking to Wes from version 5571, he was saying, they did a red eye from the West Coast and got there at like 8 or 9 in the morning and spent the whole day. And it has almost like a water park kind of area. It's a glorious space and outdoor pools and bars and all sorts of amenities outside. Well, it all closes at 5, and we rolled in about 4:15 or 4:30 and had no idea.
And we were only there for the night.
Right.
That was it.
So, if we were doing it again, given the timing of everything, and we're probably going to drive down and get there later in the day, I don't know that I'd stay there again because I don't feel like we really got that whole experience that we'd want out of staying at a place like that. If you're going to be able to get there earlier in the day and get there by lunch, we'll say, and take advantage of that, that honest to gosh resort. Absolutely. I think it's a fantastic place to stay. The breakfast at the restaurant down there in the basement on the first floor that we had, which was a mistake on embarkation morning, the breakfast was absolutely phenomenal. It was a mistake because Alicia's like, nobody's hungry now. And we didn't go to embarkation lunch.
Yeah.
So.
Oh, yeah. That makes sense. Sense. Well, yeah, I have to agree with you. I mean, for us, we didn't choose the hotel. Disney chose it for us, but we loved it. We thought it was amazing, but we didn't get to use any of the amenities because like we were flying in, but we got in like the night before embarkation. So we didn't get to use any of the amenities of the hotel except sitting at the bar that evening and, grabbing something to eat. So, all right. Well, next morning you guys wake up. Alicia, what time was your port arrival time? And when did you head to the port parking structure, I guess?
I think our port arrival time was like 11:30 or 11:45 or so. No, it was later, wasn't it? Yeah, I don't know.
No. It was 11:30-ish.
11:30-ish. Yes. I think we made our way over probably around 11. The problem was there was a university graduation going on at the same time. Capella University had its graduation going on right at the port, and they were using the parking structure for parking there. It took us, I think, 40 minutes to get there. And it is literally like you could walk there in 10, maybe.
Yeah, it's about 3, maybe 3.5 blocks to get from Pier 66 over to the Disney port and the parking structure. Yeah, and it was a 40-minute drive.
It was just the traffic was horrible.
Yeah.
So we got there eventually. Once we finally parked and got our luggage out and then parked and got on, we pretty much just went straight through everything. It was very fast.
They tried to encourage us over to the at that point in the morning, 11:45, almost noon, a very long line of people trying to check in, and we're like, I said, no, I'm sorry, we're in the Platinum and Pearl line, and we'll thank you for your suggestion, but I'll be taking a left instead of a right.
Actually, yeah, yeah. So we got on right away. That there was no wait. We just walked right through, got our pictures taken, and onto the boat. Onto the ship.
What did you think of the Destiny's Grand Hall? I mean, this was your first time on, and what was your impression?
Well, and what did the kids think? I really want to hear what the kids thought.
So this was Caitlin's first time on a Wish class ship. Sterling has hit the other two. Caitlin was just so happy to be back on a Disney ship, honestly. It had been like 4 years for her. I don't know. Yeah. Absolutely loved it because her favorite character is Spider-Man, and Spider-Man was greeting us inside. So he was a character right there waving at everybody, and she like grabbed my arm and was like, Mom. So
even
that
at
was a lot of fun.
even at 21,
yes.
Spider-Man
yes.
can dazzle, you know.
Yep.
Absolutely.
Exactly.
I think that Grand Hall can dazzle too. It's stunning and amazing and gorgeous. I love the chandelier and everything. I don't know that it's as impactful as the Treasures Grand Hall, just from a colorway perspective. I tend to lean towards the Treasure, at least from a Grand Hall perspective, but it's not horrible.
Sterling was excited to see the Black Panther T'Challa statue.
Yeah, I wanted to ask, where's your family rank on Marvel here? Marvel super fans, Marvel fans, Marvel adjacent? What? Because I feel like the heroes and villains theme, a lot of people ask, well, do I have to know Marvel and like Marvel in order to enjoy the ship?
We're all Marvel fans. We've seen all of the movies, most of the shows, a couple of the newer ones we haven't seen, but no, I don't know if we're super fans.
Yeah, I wouldn't say super fans. I mean,
watching all of the Marvel,
watching all of the Marvel movies was our pandemic project as a family. Like, we're all familiar with what's going on, but it's not like we live in that space day in and day out. I would say, like, I'm probably a bigger Star Wars fan than I am a Marvel fan. I will say there is a heavy bent in our family with my beautiful co-host here towards the villains. So
Yeah.
yes,
there's a lot going on there.
I love that. Well, you get on the ship, you check out the Grand Hall. What's your like plan of attack? Are you going to sit down lunch? Are you going to Marceline Market? Are you going to pool deck food? Are you making some kind of reservation changes? Like, what's the first order of business after you, of course, take in the Grand Hall and wave up to Spider-Man?
First order of business is usually sit down lunch, but we were full from breakfast, so we did not do that. I believe I was walking around. Sterling wanted to get to Vibe to check in, do whatever it is that they need to do. And we had something that we wanted to update with regards to our staterooms, because Nathan and Caitlin were in one room and Sterling and I were in the other. And we wanted to see, okay, what do we need to do to be able to get into the other rooms? We didn't want to switch reservations because we know sometimes with Disney that can unexpectedly drop all of your reservations. So we're like, what's the other thing that we can do? So yeah, Sterling and I walked around, and I think Caitlin and Nathan sat down at the sanctum.
Yeah. Well, what, Alicia, tell us, I mean, I think I know the answer to this, but tell us what guest services gave you as the solution to being able to access the correct rooms, because they really don't care who's sleeping in what room. And in your situation, you actually have a 21-year-old. So it's not a situation of you need an adult in one of those rooms. And so you can really be fully transparent. You're just swapping. So yeah, what was the solution that they gave at guest services?
It was very simple. They gave us 2 blank cards, and one of them keyed to one room, the other keyed to the other. And then we just gave them to whoever needed them. And they wrote the last 2 stateroom numbers on each of the cards and then covered them with tape.
Not the full stateroom number, because then if you drop your card, that's bad news. So it was just the last 2 numbers. And then I think I asked for the tape, and he was like, wait, that makes a lot of sense. And so he saw some tape. So if you ever need to write in Sharpie or something like that on a stateroom card, or they don't always do it, but if you're getting a button made in the parks and you're celebrating a birthday or this or that or whatever it is, and they write on something, see if they'll put some cellophane tape across that button, and then the Sharpie won't wear off.
Yeah. And it also won't like smudge onto your clothing and stuff like
right,
that.
Exactly.
Right? Yeah.
Exactly.
Great tip. Okay. Well, you checked out the sanctum right away, Nathan. As a first plan of attack when you are skipping lunch, as you mentioned, a mistake in eating too much for breakfast. What did you think of the themes bar spaces, starting with the sanctum? Of course, you'd been to Haunted Mansion Parlor on the Treasure, but what did you think of all the different theming and the different spaces?
I loved the sanctum. I thought it was absolutely gorgeous. For me, I am a Jungle Cruise fan, so I will lean a little bit towards Skipper Society, but I thought it was great. So I had the distortion effect, which is their kind of old fashioned ish kind of drink. And Brian, I'm interested in your thoughts on this one because I didn't like it. I had two of them over the course of the week. I didn't think it was very good at all.
I love the presentation of all the drinks that Disney's doing now and some of the things they're doing to get creative with it. Although sometimes that stuff is broken, not on the ship, not charged. And so they're just, I tend to find most of the Disney like prefab drinks on board just to be too sweet, not like super well balanced. The exceptions I found were upstairs in, why am I blanking on the name
Cask
of
and
it?
Hooks.
Cannon?
Hooks.
Or Hooks?
No,
Hooks or
at
Cask and
the
Cannon?
pub, the Cask and Cannon.
Oh, at Cask and Cannon pub.
Yeah,
sorry.
where they had some of those like those aged rums and things like that. Like those felt more like well-balanced cocktails to me. The other stuff felt just like the presentation was cool, but a bit gimmicky. And that's what you're really buying the drink for. So yeah.
I didn't think the distortion effect was sweet. I actually thought, and it wasn't like a punch like you get from a bourbon or whiskey. It was almost sour. Like, I don't know what they were going for. It was odd. And so I tried it again a few days later just to like, did I have a bad batch or a bad experience? No, it's just that one is not for me, which is fine. I'm sure other people absolutely love it, which is great.
Are those pre-made?
Some of the mixes they're not all, it just depends on some of them, like there might be like a mix that they're using that's pre-made. Of course, they're still adding like the liquor at the end typically, but depending upon, I think it depends on what drink you're talking about, but a lot of them I think are sort of pre-made mixes so that they are kind of consistent throughout. Yeah, from bartender.
I mean, if you have the time and the schedules right, and you're looking for an old fashioned, if you're not going to Hook's Barbary, you're doing it wrong.
Yeah,
Exactly.
Yeah.
Couldn't agree more.
Let's talk about the other theming. You've got, of course, I know, Alicia, you're probably looking forward to DeVille's being a villain's girl. But yeah, what did you think of DeVille's? What did you think of Cask and Cannon?
So for some reason, I don't know what happened here. I did not really get to spend too much time in the lounges throughout the entirety of the cruise. And I'm going back in my mind. I was like, what was I doing? Why was I not spending time here? We spent a very short amount of time in DeVille's for the chocolate and liquor tasting. And then there's one other thing. I was in there just before something else. I really liked how it looked in there. I thought it was a lot of fun. The one drink that I had all sorts of other accoutrements with it. It's a nice little space. I still think these spaces are too small for these ships. I think I actually prefer the one on the Treasure over
interesting.
the one here.
The Aristocats, Scat Cat.
Yeah.
I thought the seating was more comfortable there, believe it or not.
That's a fair assessment. I do think, sometimes they're choosing seating based on the look and not always based on comfort, right? So that depends.
It did look very chic and very Cruella. I did like that about it. Cask and Cannon was another one that I didn't end up spending too much time in. And that is just because the World Cup was going on while we were there. And it was pretty much just packed the entire time. I was able to get in a little bit. It's someplace I really would have loved to have spent a lot more time in. I love rum. And this is where you go for rum.
Speaking as someone who, with my daughter, was part of the problem watching World Cup games in Cask and Cannon, I thought it was fantastic.
Yeah.
And yes, the rum is great. And I actually found a new beer that they have on board that they had in Cask and Cannon. They had it at a few other of the bars as well. It's Brian, you'll love this. It's a Kentucky bourbon aged ale. It's like barrel aged. Oh my gosh.
I actually liked it, and I don't like beer.
Oh, wow. All right. Well, let's transition over to ports, and then we'll come back onto the ship to talk about some of the things and experiences you guys did on board. Let's start with you went to, 3 ports that the Disney Destiny doesn't, 2 ports the Disney Destiny doesn't usually go to, and 1 port that the Disney Destiny goes to pretty regularly, Lookout Key. Let's talk about St. Martin and San Juan. What did you guys get up to? Or tell me which one was first, and then we'll go with whichever one was first.
So we had Lookout and then St. Martin and then San Juan.
Okay. What did you guys do at Lookout? I know you've been there before, but what was I'm imagining you probably didn't book an excursion there. It's a lovely beach day. You don't really need to.
We usually don't when we're at Castaway or at Lookout. We just enjoy the beach. Coming from the Pacific Northwest, you guys know this. It's just rock. The beaches are not sandy. And we wanted to introduce the kids to that amazing powder soft sand and water that is somehow soft. So we just found an area. We showed up a little bit later, timing wise. So it was hard to find a spot. It was pretty packed. Of course, when we got off the tram, we went left, and I think we should have gone right.
And also, there is still plenty of seating. It's just a matter of like, if you want to be close to the water, like that seating does tend to fill up faster. Whereas if you go up the berm, there's probably more seating available, but you're far away from the water.
Well, and it was also, I know you guys have ranted on this before, so I don't want to trigger the four of us to just go off, but it was like, we're looking for, like, there's four of us. We're looking for a chair. I don't care if it's a lounger, to just put towels and stuff down on and have a home base to come back to. And there's people, like, I would say 90% of the chairs were peopleless, and it was just towels. I'm like, look, little Billy, who's 4, doesn't need his own lounger. Like, save some room for the rest of us. 'Cause not everybody needs to rope drop.
Billy needs a bit more sunscreen, but he doesn't need a chair because he's going to be by the beach the entire day. Yes.
Exactly.
We finally found something, and Nathan was walking with a cane, so we didn't want to go too far. Just the instability walking through the sand can be difficult for all of us. We finally found something, and I think we spent maybe about 2 hours in the water or something. It was nice.
It was great. And then, we got out, and then, oh, look, there's a bar right there. And Sterling was kind of done. Like, as my wife will say, like, I have a family of redheads, and they are delicate flowers. And Sterling was done with the sun and decided to go back to the ship. And we said,
it was hot.
Yeah, it was hot. And we said, I think you can get back onto the ship by yourself. Let us know if you can't, and one of us will come and rescue you. And he was good. So no issues there. And the three of us had a nice seat right next to the bar at, I don't remember which bar it was, one of them, and proceeded to have a lovely afternoon.
That's a great pro tip, by the way, though. Under 18 can get onto the ship without an adult. They can't get off the ship without an adult. And we figured that out with our Nathan as well. But even in Alaska, like, that was the case. So it's just a good to know, because there are times where your kid is like done. I mean, older kid, of course, like, you're not going to send your 5-year-old on the ship by themselves.
Right.
But like a 12-year-old, a 14-year-old, right? Like that works. Yeah. Well, let's talk about your next port of call.
That was St. Martin. And this was Destiny's first time hitting St. Martin. I'm sure they did some sort of ceremony. I think we were asleep. So
yes. Yeah. We had an afternoon, or I guess late morning excursion time with the 12-meter regatta that is there in the port at Phillipsburg. And so we didn't need to get up. We weren't rushing to get right off the ship. We weren't rushing to get food and all the rest of that stuff. So it's kind of nice to avoid the rope drop culture. We do the same thing on Castaway and Lookout. Like, we're just sleeping. Like, on Lookout, we didn't even get out of bed till 9 a.m. And it's just like, the beach will still be there. It may take us 3 extra minutes to find a chair. We'll be fine. It's okay. So yeah, we slow rolled going, and then it had been 16 years since we had been there to do this excursion, and I had a very false memory of how close the yacht club was that we needed to meet. So should have probably grabbed an Uber, or if you're doing the Disney excursion, there is a little water taxi pier that they will grab people from right next to the boats there. We didn't do that, and we walked, and that was very hot. And
I was struggling, y'all. The heat did me in. Yeah, but we made it.
We survived.
Yeah. The 12-meter regatta. Nathan, explain what this is, because it is It is so
Yeah.
much fun.
So I grew up on the ocean in Connecticut, and I have always loved sailing and sailboats. And this is 1980s America's Cup 12-meter class racing yachts. And you get to crew the yacht in a race against another 12-meter class boat.
And these are actual yachts that were involved in the races.
In the race.
Yeah.
That sounds so cool, you
It's so
guys.
much
Like,
fun.
oh my God. Okay, so the next time we go to St. Martin, this is something I'm booking. I'll book that. I mean, that seems like easy enough to book outside of the cruise company.
Highly recommended. Well, now it's on Disney's list of excursions too. It just wasn't at the time when we booked. So
Yeah. And it's glorious. Like, you get picked and selected to do a specific job, a specific role. You could be a grinder, you can be a line minder, there's all sorts of different things. I was the backstay grinder, so making sure the mast didn't fall over, which I heard is a good thing to prevent. Alicea was the timekeeper / bartender.
Yep.
Also a very, very critical role to have on a boat.
Crucial.
Right. I mean, you work up.
Although I don't think most America's Cup boats have a bartender on board, although I like where that's going. And, I also need to know if they were blasting yacht rock the entire race. But
there is nothing electrical on these boats at all. I'm sure there's lights because there has to be lights, but there's no electric winches. You are the crew. Like, it's amazing. So they do 2 sailings a day. They had a morning group and a late morning into the afternoon group. We were that second group. And we do this race. You do a couple laps on the course, going around the markers and everything. And it was gloriously breezy, and there was a decent chop going. So it wasn't like, you got to love being on a boat, but I was happy as a clam. And we come back into port, and then they pulled up a racing yacht sailboat without a motor onto a mooring ball and grabbed the mooring ball, like, with perfection, with no motors. I was like, yeah, these guys know exactly.
They know what they're doing.
Yeah, these are professionals.
This is an amazing excursion. The kids had so much fun. I think there was a younger kid on ours, maybe about 8 or 9, I think, on it as well. And he was grinder as well. He had a little bit of trouble just because his arms were so short. Something to keep in mind, but I think for teens, this is prime. It's so much fun.
How long was this experience? Like, it's not like a whole day, but
no,
like,
it's
no.
2.5, 3 hours maybe total.
I was going to say 2. Yeah.
Okay.
It's not too long. Yeah. It is a fantastic way to spend part of your day. And then, we were able to take the water taxi back, because we ended up, even though we booked independently, we ended up with a group from, was it the Royal Caribbean ship that was in next to us, I think? Since they were on an official excursion, we just hopped onto the water taxi back to the boats with them. And then, I think Caitlin and Sterling went inside to get out of the sun, and Caitlin and I happened to find a bar there right at the port before we got on the ship.
There's a theme here.
Yes. I'm sensing
there's definitely a theme.
All right. Well, what about San Juan? What did you guys do there?
San Juan. So Nathan and I had visited on one of our cruises on the Magic. Was that in November? Yeah. And when we went, there was this whole government shutdown going on. So the fort that we wanted to visit was closed because of that. So we visited the fort. We didn't have any excursions set for this. We just grabbed somebody via Uber to drive us there. We enjoyed the fort there. It was very hot. I was not doing well. I was overheating all over the place. It's great.
This is a really good point, though, about sailing in the summer in the Caribbean. I think that people should know, like, I mean, a lot of the time we're, constrained by our kids, school schedules. And so we end up doing a lot of travel in the summer. Doing travel in the Caribbean in the summer is no joke. Even July, of course, August is worse, but even in July, like, it's really hot. And those of us who live in the Pacific Northwest are really not used to that. And as you mentioned, you're a family of gingers. And so you have to be really careful. In addition to living in the Pacific Northwest, you got to, like, lather up top so you don't all turn red. Yeah, so that's definitely a rough go. Now, were you guys docked? Were you docked near the old town area? Because there is a fort there, but you went to the other fort.
We went to El Moro, which is the one that's out on the point as you come around into the harbor. And it was like, as kind of a history geek, which I feel is kind of like what you're supposed to do when you become a dad. You start drinking old fashions and you love all things history. It's just
right.
Reach.
Right. It's just the rules.
We don't make them. They just are the rules. That's it.
Right, exactly.
How it is.
I absolutely loved it. I know the kids did too. They were able to go down into a couple of the lower levels of the fort. It's kind of on this bluff, and the fort kind of grew up the hill. And so they were able to go down into some of the original sections of the fort that date from the 1500s. Like, literally, it's 500 years old. They were in part of this building that's 500 years old. And it was really incredible. Absolutely stunning views. There was lots of history and like displays and not posters, but like boards explaining what's going on. The narrative of everything is going on. And finally, Alicia's like, hey, I'm going to need you to just start taking pictures of these and reading them later, because otherwise we're going to be here all day. I'm like, okay, sorry.
I love it.
Just find the documentary. You know you want to.
Yeah.
I know.
If it's a World War II documentary, I'm watching it. So.
Yeah, absolutely. Well, Netflix has all the things now, so you can find all the documentaries available about everything. If you're listening to us right now, chances are pretty good that you love Disney vacations as much as we do. But even seasoned travelers know there's a ton to keep up with when it comes to Disney Cruise Line. From cruise itineraries to the perfect stateroom for your family, shore excursions, and onboard experiences. And if you're planning to visit the Disney parks before or after your cruise, then there's even more to plan, from the perfect resort to lightning lane strategies, dining reservations, park tickets, special offers, and much, much more.
That's where We Do Travel Right comes in. Their team of experienced travel advisors specializes in Disney Cruise Line, Disney parks, and other exciting places all around the world. They take the time to understand what matters most to your family, providing personalized recommendations and helping you navigate all the details so you can spend less time stressing and more time looking forward to your vacation. Whether it's your first Disney cruise or your 10th, having an expert in your corner can make all the difference.
Life is short. Take the trip. Visit WeDoTravelRight.com/DCLDuo to connect with a travel advisor and start planning your next unforgettable adventure.
We Do Travel Right, the crew that handles the planning so you can focus on relaxing.
Well, how long did you guys hang out at the fort, and did you Uber back, or did you decide to like hang out and sort of tour around San Juan?
Let's see. I think we stayed at the fort maybe about an hour or so. Yeah, somewhere around then. There, I made sure we were all sufficiently slathered with sunscreen. I had my sunbrella. We had lots of water. After we were done with the fort, we dropped Sterling back off at the ship. Because, yes, this is a theme, guys. I'm sorry. We went over to Casa Bacardi.
Nice. I know. I think Brian has been there. I've never been to Casa Bacardi. So that's,
It's a long time ago with my dad, like when we were sailing on a celebrity cruise back in my 20s. So it's been a long time since we've been there. But I remember it being a lot of fun and a lot of free samples after the tour.
Yeah, how was it?
It was amazing. We did a big, the founders tour in November when Alicia and I were there, and we didn't have the time to do that, but we were able to like grab some lunch. They have a beautiful outdoor bar. Everything is like based in Bacardi. I had an old fashioned with the Bacardi Diez, the 10-year aged reserve. And oh my goodness, I may have had a couple of those. And then when we were there, Alicia and I were there in November, we had a custom bottle that we were able to have etched, and then we were able to fill it and prepare it and label it and all the rest of stuff, dip the wax and all the rest of that. And the person that we were with said, hey, by the way, we're changing the design of the whole packaging and everything come January. And we were like, oh, well, we're we're coming back in the summer. I guess we'll have to stop by. And Alicea really wanted to get another bottle. So yeah, so we did that.
We did another bottle. Yeah. And that was the whole reason for the trip. No.
That's so fun. I love that.
Yeah.
I love that. Now, okay, so you head back to the ship, I assume, after the distillery tour and making your, well, not a full distillery tour, but making your bottle and visiting. I want to ask about some of the stuff you guys did on board. You mentioned you did, I'm sorry if the theme of the show ends up being about drinking, but you did 4 drink tastings on board the Destiny.
Well, we had 4 scheduled.
Oh, you have, okay.
We totally missed one.
Oh, you just like totally spaced on
we
one.
forgot
We
all
had
about it.
one. We had one that was the afternoon of St. Martin. That was like we were on board. We had an 11:30 thing to do the 12-meter regatta, and then we were going to be back on board, and we had like a 4 p.m. mixology class. And Caitlin and I sat down at a bar. We had a few rounds and eventually got back on the ship. I want to say at like 3:30 or 3:45 or something like that. And we all just completely spaced until like dinner that night that there was a mixology thing that we just
totally missed it. Felt horrible about it.
We did that once too, you guys. Like it was where we had it was on a day where we had an excursion and we were we had a mixology. I don't know if it was mixology, but it was a drink tasting in the late afternoon. And I think when your brain is like focused on the excursions and you're like been out in the sun all day, just the wires kind of get disconnected up there. And so sometimes things fall through, which is, I think, helps with my pro tip to not overschedule yourself, right? Like, I feel like, we tend to do that, or a lot of people tend to do that.
This turned into a whole theme, at least for me, for the whole cruise, because, you were asking about the lounges and Alicea didn't spend a ton of time in them. I did here and there, but like we wanted to go on the Destiny. It's the new ship. There's all these new things. We want to experience all the new stuff. We didn't get to everything because I get into cruise mode. I get onto a ship, especially a Disney ship at this point, because we've been on so many cruises, which we love. Like, I'm not complaining about this. My brain shuts off. Like, I'm done. It is no longer a trip, which the parks are lovely. We enjoy them, just the best times. That's a trip. A cruise for us is a vacation. And my brain just shuts off. And so we're going to have to go back to do some stuff that we missed. Oh, no.
That's so horrible, Nathan. All right. Well, you went to 3 of your 4 tastings. I want to know, like, which one was the best? Which one, like, was there one that you would not do again, or would you do all 3 of them again?
I'd say hands down our favorite is the chocolate and liquor tasting.
Oh, and what did Caitlin think about it too? Because that was
her favorite. She that was definitely her favorite. We are chocoholics. And just tasting the chocolate and then the liquor and then other way around, tasting the liquor and then the chocolate and then how it changes the taste of it all is supremely interesting to me. I absolutely love it. I am not a wine drinker because my boss calls me a super taster. I don't know what that means, but if I have wine and then I have something to eat and then I drink wine again, it tastes like vinegar to me. So I don't really like drinking wine because of that. Yeah.
Did this work out though? Then because of the pairings being like so perfect, obviously, then you didn't have that effect.
It's only with wine for some reason, but I think with the sweeter stuff, it doesn't change it as much. I noticed this with Prima Notte too. Like, we have the savory foods and it's a bunch of different wines and other stuff. It's kind of the same type of thing. Red wine, I didn't like it after the taste, but pretty much everything else was fine. If it was white wine, it was okay. If it's a port doesn't have a difference in taste at all. So, long story short, chocolate and liquors are my favorite.
Although the sleeper hit is World of Old Fashioned at Hooks. And interestingly, Caitlin was very concerned about this one. She's like, I don't know, bourbon and all, like, we'll see. She downed every single one of them.
Yes.
Wow.
She loved that one.
Well, that makes me think like I should go. So I've never done the World of Old Fashioned tasting because that's bourbon and whiskey, not my vibe. And old fashions and smoky drinks, also not my thing.
I don't like smoky either.
Yeah, but Brian, of course, loves those. But maybe I'm misjudging it. Maybe I should be actually thinking outside the box.
Try it once. I'll say whoever they have doing the World of Old Fashioned, they are a master at their craft. We've gone to, I think, 2, maybe 3 at this point. One on each of the ships. Yeah. And we had a mitt this time. So good. I don't remember who we had last time, but whoever mixes these and puts these together, they, like I said, they are a master at that craft, and it's delicious.
Yeah, this was not our first time sampling Amit's old fashions. He is fantastic. So, and he'll be opening the Believe. So, Brian, just tell him we said hi.
All right, I like it. I like it. I will say, whoever the bartender is in Hooks is always one of the best bartenders on board. Because they are really just a solo operation, right? And they're doing. They're serving people who are coming in, when the bar is open, but they're also doing those tastings that are held in the barber shop. So definitely a high caliber level crew member. All right. Well, I got to hear about, you guys did all of the adult meals. Well, you didn't do all of them, but you did several adult meals, all in Palo. You did prima notte, you mentioned you did brunch, you did dinner. You guys have done these before, but were they of the same caliber? Were they better? And Caitlin hadn't done any of these before. Imagine she went. I know Sterling's too young, but Caitlin's old enough.
She'd done the brunch before.
Okay.
Yeah.
Well,
she loved all of them.
Yeah, I thought it was fantastic too. I think these are fantastic experiences across the board. Fantastically prepared food. The service you get. We had Aloy, I think, from Italy. No, I forget where. No, he's from Spain. Aloy from Spain. And just, they're incomparable. Like if you were going to a restaurant like this on shore, you'd be paying a lot more money than you do on the ship. And it's so worth it to do these. And Caitlin loved every bite as well.
Yeah. For prima notte, we were 3 people and we're at a foretop. And so one other person joined us, and turned out to be a very happy circumstance because we hit it off with her and she switched her dining reservation. So we had Monique and her daughter joined us for dinner. So it was nice.
Oh, that's lovely. So she switched to sit with you guys in main dining.
Yep.
Wow.
Yep.
Yeah. She happened to be in the same rotation, not anywhere near us. Yeah. So it was very easy for them to just slobber over.
Oh, awesome. I love when that works out. I love when you make new cruise friends. Now, I know you guys co-hosted a drink around the world, let's call it, a bar hopping, bar crawl. And you've done this before. How did you organize it? I know you co-hosted it with the Kraus Mouse Adventures folks, our mutual friends over there. But how did you decide to do this, and how did you organize it, especially not having been on the ship before?
I had done this on the Treasure before, so I kind of had everything already plotted out before for this class of ship, made it a lot easier. This one was not near as scheduled as I did the last one. It's I don't want to do that much work. I want to make sure that we have time to really enjoy the ship. So I put together basically a booklet of all the locations on the ship and printed a bunch of those out for people to fill out, and gave kind of a blanket schedule, here's kind of a guideline of where to go for the day. And we handed those out, as well as orange wristbands to everybody on embarkation day, and introduced ourselves and said, this is the day that we're going to do this. There's a guideline for where you want to go throughout the day. Have fun. So that's pretty much what it was.
Yeah. Last time, I think we tried to do it much more organized and kind of have groups moving around together and stuff like that. And it was a lot more work. This time it turned into a lot looser thing. I didn't see as many people on the day, but we had a very active WhatsApp group with everybody who signed up to do it. And we had like 100 people participating around the ship, and everybody was sharing like, oh, ask for this person and get this drink at this bar. And it was like going through the whole week. So it actually kind of made it almost like, in some ways, a better experience because there was just more involvement. You didn't all have to be there all at the same time. We weren't doing crowd management and stuff like that. So it was a lot of fun.
It's kind of a forcing function for us too. We are very much deep introverts, both of us. And if we, I guess, had our choice, like I would literally just sit and read all day if I could. This gets me a little out of my shell and talking to folks.
I love that. I think it's a great way to like meet people on board. And I imagine you advertise this in like the Facebook group for the sailing, right, to start with, and then sort of drum up interest or gauge interest, and then it moves over to WhatsApp, which is for those who don't know, the reason why a lot of these communications transfer over to WhatsApp once you're on board is because you do not need internet. You're basically operates through the ship's Wi-Fi without purchasing an internet plan, and so you can use WhatsApp to communicate. So you can start a group, and so somebody usually does that in the Facebook group pre-cruise, and then everybody joins the WhatsApp group, and then that's what becomes sort of the communication model when you're on board. Of course, you can iMessage if you have iPhones, but that only works with folks who have iPhones.
So the one thing that I did see come up with more people this time that I don't recall happening before is to get WhatsApp working, folks needed to sign up for an internet like account. And then in the fine print down at the bottom of the page, it was like just use complimentary service, like as a hidden link within the fine print, and you click on that and then WhatsApp would work. It wasn't just working from the get-go. Now, we had internet packages, so I didn't notice that, but that was definitely a frequent help, I can't get online kind of question that we saw come up across our cruise. So something to be aware of for folks.
Yeah, that's good. Really good to know. Great tip, you guys, because we haven't seen that, but we also tend to buy an internet package because we're posting on socials or because we've got to deal with stuff for our day jobs, right? So it's very rare that we don't at least have one or two internet packages purchased when we're on board.
Or 3 or 4, depending. Yeah.
Yeah. We'll be honest, usually 3, one for each of us. Like we usually buy them all on one account because you save money that way. And then, but we buy like a 3 device package, and then we each use the same login, and we're able to use it on each of our phones. Or if we need to swap out what device, like Brian needs to do it on his computer, he logs in and it like kicks somebody else off. But then we can just kick each other off back and forth. It's kind of like
a lot of kicking. If you do this strategy, the tip is whoever was the last to log in is the first to get kicked off. So if you have to trade devices, you're kicking them off, and then when you add your device back.
I thought it's the other way around. I think it's the first who logged in is the one who gets kicked off. Yeah.
It's roulette. Whatever it is, it's roulette. You got to make sure everyone gets back onto the Wi-Fi once you're done.
Or before you move from your phone to your laptop, you can just go into that web page and say log off this device, and then you won't do that. But I actually think it's fun to mess with the rest of your family. So I'm picking this up, Brian. That's nice.
Well, the one problem with logging off on your phone is if you have multi-factor authentication set up, you actually need to have your phone and your laptop at the same time, right? So like that's what always is the issue with Brian logging onto his computer.
Nathan works for my employer. He is well versed in the security protocols to get access.
So that's typically why we have more than one device plan. Also, is because we need to deal with the multi-factor login. So anyway, all right. Well, let's set aside some of that, technical stuff. Let's talk about some of the Destiny specific experiences. I want to know, what did you get to do? Because as you mentioned up front, Nathan, you didn't get to do everything. That's not surprising. Even in 7 days, we were on for a combination of like 8 days. Was it 8 days or more? I don't even remember now. We were on for
back to back,
and we were on a 3-night preview. Oh, so we're on 11 nights, and and there was still like a couple of things that I didn't. Well, there was like one thing I wanted to do, I didn't get to do. And then there were a couple of things that I was like, I don't really care about doing it, that I didn't get to do. So yeah, what did you get to do let's start with like the category of Marvel stuff, because
and how are the lines? I need to know how the lines.
Oh my gosh, the lines were chaos. Seriously, we figured on a 7-night they may die down. They did not die down. It was people were lining up, I'd say a half an hour at least beforehand for most everything that involved a villain
or a hero,
or Marvel. Yeah.
Yeah.
Was there any specific Marvel?
Well, there's the atrium stuff, right? There's a couple of like the Grand Hall shows, and then there's like the adult only with Great Power show.
Yeah, those are all packed.
Yeah. Did you guys get to experience those shows and experiences?
Yes. So I like Loki. So I wanted to go to all the Loki stuff. I had my Goddess of Mischief shirt with me, so I had to wear that. Yes. So lining up in the Grand Hall, the atrium area, it was packed for all of these. Like there was standing room only a couple deep in some places. Saw those. Let's see, I think it was the first night and the last night, maybe they did something.
But you learned something first night. I don't mean to jump in, but we were missing Zaya.
Oh, yes. That was, Okay. So Caitlin and I went up to the sail away party, and we learned pretty quickly that there's just Gamble. There was no Zaya. It was just Gamble for pretty much the whole thing. And we're like, oh, I wonder if she's sick or something like that. I mean, Gamble pulled it off. He was amazing. So for all of the storytelling things that we went to, except for ones where they explicitly needed 2 people, it was just Gamble.
So that mean the adult show was out then?
That is where they explicitly needed 2 people. So we had somebody join us for that one named Venturo. So
so it's probably somebody from the main stage cast.
100% it was.
Yeah, and
100% it was.
Because we had that same situation happen in one of our sailings on the Treasure, and so some things were done by just a single person, like Sail Away, for example. But the things that like the 2-person story, like so they do like a storytelling thing in the atrium. That really needs 2 people to tell the story because they're playing all these different characters, right? And then you've got the Marvel show, which needs 2 people, but there's a few things that they could potentially get away with only one person doing. So yeah, it's somebody who, I mean, that's kind of amazing because that person may have only just learned that role. They're not all cross-trained. Yeah.
So
it was seamless. It was so impressive.
For the Marvel, for the Loki storytelling in the Grand Hall, that was just Gamble by himself. For Elixir Hall and for With Great Power, that was Gamble and Venturo.
And there was one storyteller thing that happened in the atrium. I think it was, I don't know if we were there, but it was like from our group chat. It wasn't Venturo. It was Ventura.
That was the tea with royalty thing.
Oh, okay. Yeah.
That was with with Gamble and Ventura.
Yeah.
So for the Marvel shows, I saw the Loki ones, and then we saw the With Great Power. And I think that was it.
What did you guys think?
I thought they were great.
Yeah, they were fantastic.
With Great Power it's stinking hilarious. Oh my gosh. I love humor.
What did you guys do in terms of the villain shows / experiences? Did you go to the meet and greets, or did you go to the shows? Did you do both? Or I mean, what? I'm sure you, like I say, you can't do everything, but of course you've got, Cruella,
I watched
Dr.
soccer games,
Facilier, and Maleficent.
Nathan, I meant to ask, did they play any of the World Cup games on Funnel Vision?
No, we were hoping, and I'm wondering if they are like this weekend, because as we're recording, this is the third place game, and the final is here in a little bit. So maybe they'll do that now, but not for the early round of 32 or even the group stage stuff. They were not.
So Cruella.
Yeah, Cruella.
Didn't see any of Cruella's stuff.
Oh.
I wanted to, but again, that was one of the ones where the lines were for troublemaking. Had to line up super early. And I think we missed the runway. I think they only did that once, and it happened to be while we were at Apollo, I think.
Okay. Yeah, that makes sense. They only do the wretched runway. It happens in the Grand Hall, so it's easy to catch if you're around, but because obviously there's lots of space and you can even watch it from kind of above, right? But if, not if you're in Apollo, you're going to miss it. And then, from what we've heard, the lines for for DeVille's, for troublemaking with Cruella, and of course with the storytellers, really have not died down. I'm curious, did you hear if Gamble was doing that show on his own? Because I think that's, oh wow, okay. I was gonna say it's possible to do that show on his own, but that's a lot. Like I gotta give a shout out to whoever your Gamble was on this sailing, because honestly, like basically doing all of that stuff, it's a lot for two people, but especially doing it, like doing all of it as one person, I can imagine would have been
Oh my gosh.
crazy.
No, he was phenomenal. I sat and saw a couple of other shows where he did a Princess and Frog retelling, which was like Mad Lib style. That was so funny.
Yeah. Did you get to see the Sleeping Beauty one? Would have been the one where he would have needed a partner. So they may have not. Yeah, they might not have even done it. I
don't remember seeing that on the Navigator at all either. Like, because of what we had heard of with Sage and Coriander and our experiences with that, I'm like, I need to go see all of these, because the storytelling aspect on these Wish class ships are phenomenal. But I didn't see anything specific for that.
Yeah, and I bet that might have been the one that they would drop, because that one you do need a second person, because they're playing a bunch of different roles. It's very similar to we did the Tales from the Lamp on the Treasure. It's again two people, doing all the different roles. And on that one, when we had a missing Sage, I think it was, whichever one's the female, I think that's Sage. I don't know. I can't remember. I confuse them because it's been a little bit. They didn't have that on one of our sailings because of that. And so they will fill in where they can, but it's really hard to fill in everything. What about Maleficent? Did you go see her, or Dr. Facilier? Yeah.
I saw both of them. Maleficent is my absolute favorite villain. Like, I love Maleficent, and she turns into a dragon, and I love dragons. That show was great. It's called Under Her Spell, and she's tall.
Oh, really?
Yes. It was nice, just the whole little show that she does, and then getting up to meet her face to face and have a little conversation with her. A lot of fun. Dr. Facilier, it was after breakfast one morning. I think it was the last one that they did. I'm like, okay, I need to leave now, because knowing how the lines are, I just need to go sit in line. So I did that.
Yeah, for the parlor, not just the meet and greet.
For the parlor. Yeah. We did not do the meet and greet. We did the parlor.
Yeah, I would say like do one or the other, because there's lines for both. And like the parlor is the one that's like a more, you can't use any phones or anything. You can't take any, there's no pictures and no video allowed, but there's essentially a little trick that he does for a small group, and it's pretty cool. It's kind of a one and done thing, I'd say. Like, you don't have to do it multiple times, but I think it's a great thing to do. Pro tip about Maleficent, Alicia, tell our audience, if they want to actually meet and greet Maleficent outside of her meet and greet times, where you need to be in the Under Her Spell show.
Under Her Spell show, you do not want to be on the second floor of Saga, because you will not get to meet her. I was up there just reading, and somebody came in and said, hey, if you want to meet Maleficent, you need to go down to the floor below. So we did that. I waited in line. Actually, I went inside, but apparently it was too early because we got kicked out so they could prepare the stage, and just stood in line down there, got a seat back in. So yeah, if you want to meet Maleficent, you do need to be on, I think it's the fourth deck. You want to be on deck 4.
Absolutely. Yeah. Good pro tip, because if you go to the event and then you're on the 5th floor and then they announce the meet and greet after, you will not get now you can do a meet and greet with her at a different time, but you will wait in line for that one. And if you're already at the show, you probably want to do the meet and greet with her. All right. Well, I think that covers, am I missing anything in terms of like unique entertainment experiences? Of course, we got to talk shows. I know we're running out of time here, but I think that's it.
Right? I think that's it. I mean, other than Hercules being the new show there,
right? Well, so that's what we're going to talk about next.
Part. Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah.
Okay.
Hercules is great.
Did you guys wait to get into the theater, like to get a good seat, or were you like
twice? Yes.
Oh wow. Okay. All right. Tell me all. Give us all the tea, Nathan.
So we did the matinee, and that line was insane. I don't know when people started lining up for that. I think Alicia got in line initially like 40 minutes, I think.
40 minutes before, and it was all the way past Sanctum on both sides. It was almost to the Grand Hall, and I was like, wow, okay, we'll get there eventually.
It was definitely into the Grand Hall on both sides when I found her like 10 minutes later. So it was, that was kind of nuts. And we got a seat audience like back right. It was
right underneath the overhang. Yeah.
Which it was okay. I enjoyed the show from there. Okay, soapbox moment. Sorry, I got to rant. Hey, folks, if you're in a show, even on a Disney cruise, you can't talk and cavort and just do like you need to like be quiet. So adults were doing this. I'm not talking about kids. It was adults. I had the gentleman next to me. So the cruise director comes on and he's introducing the show, and he literally says, and just a reminder, no photography and no videos. And here's Hercules. And then the show starts and the dude picks up his phone and he starts videoing. And I looked at Alicia. I'm like, I can't. She's like, no,
like,
you should. I'm
say
like,
something.
I'm like, sir, there's no video. And he goes, oh, there's no video. I'm like, yeah, no. It's like, okay.
Oh my God.
So the family near us was talking throughout the whole thing, not the kids, the adults.
The adults.
That's so frustrating, right?
It is.
Now on a Disney ship, you expect there to be some chatter, especially because of the kids.
That's fine. Yeah.
But like, you still expect like respect for the people who are performing and the people around you who are there to see a show. They're not here to like listen to your conversations. And the photography thing is super frustrating also because, you know, there are some shows where they allow people to video, sometimes with a Broadway performer or something like that. They will sometimes allow people to video, and that's fine. But when they are very clear as to when you're not allowed to, like, just don't.
I'm going to put a pin in this for later. We did have some Broadway stars on our sailing.
Oh, love it.
So we did the 1:30 show, and then we went back for the evening one. I think it was just Nathan and I for the 1:30, and then everybody for the evening one for the 6:30.
Whatever. Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah.
We had much better seats. We could actually see all the projections and stuff they had for this one. This show is amazing.
What time did you line up? Like how early did you line up for the evening show? I'm curious.
For the evening show, Nathan was having some mobility issues, so we actually went to see if we could go in the accessible entrance for this one, just to make sure that he got in okay. Standing in line at the 1:30 was quite difficult for that.
We did pull that card, not making it up.
Yeah, I mean, you've been using a cane. You've been recovering from knee surgery now for several months. I'm surprised you were able to get around the ship as well as you did, Nathan. That's
I'm surprised I'm still recovering, but that's the opposite side of the same coin. It's fine.
Yeah, fair.
But it was that show is really, really good. It was interesting talking to Wes again. Like he was saying, like the Giants or the Titans weren't out for one of his shows. And I could see them having issues with the Titans if there's any sort of seas going on where the stage is moving a little bit, because those folks are on stilts. And I could see that being a safety issue, but we had what we'll call A mode for everything, and they did so fantastically well. It was a great show. We had a great discussion at dinner with everybody just about the show. The people that were sitting with us, the daughter was in what was her? She's like in college for theater, for like the production side of it or something like that. So it was just really interesting hearing everybody's thoughts. And Sterling does hip hop. He does dance. He's amazing at it. And I was very curious. It's like, what did you think of Pegasus? He did not like Pegasus. I was floored. He's like, he wanted like a puppet like Sven in Frozen. I'm like
Sven or Maximus, right?
Yeah. He's like, he appreciated the talent of the performer and everything. He's like, it's just not what I was expecting.
Yeah.
So how do you think it compares to the other shows?
So I'm going back and forth on this. I liked the puppets better, or the puppet better in Moana. I liked Te Fiti. There was something about that was just very shock and awe, I guess, just the transformation in that. I think I liked the show overall better for Hercules. I will say the Meg and Hercules did not have great chemistry, but the vocal performances were amazing. Like everybody was supremely talented.
I know we're not doing rapid fire, but I would say
I agree with you, Alicia. I got to just say that. Yeah.
I still put Beauty and the Beast at the top of my stack rank. And then I'm going to put Hercules and then probably Moana, but maybe Frozen ahead of Moana. Like, there was something about the pacing of the show. And I know I'm going to get even more hate mail after being on your show and saying this out loud again, but
I know you and Moana. You didn't.
No.
I know, Nathan. I'm like,
I love Moana. Like,
I know.
I love that movie and the story and everything, but it's just, yeah, I don't know.
I mean, I love that show. I will agree. There is a moment in the middle of the show where it really slows down and kind of drops down, but then then it shoots right back up. But I'm with Alicia.
I have Grandma Tala on my arm. Like, I love Moana. It's fine.
But I'm with Alicia on this. I think that the Tafiti Taka puppet is like the most masterful puppet I've ever seen, and that transformation is incredible. But I'd say like overall, I think Hercules is just a more entertaining show, even though Moana's got like some really several moments where you get the feels, right? Because it's just the story is amazing. All right. Well, you mentioned Broadway stars, so we have to go there next. Did they do both an adult and a main stage performance? And I imagine you probably had 2 Broadway stars from 10th and Main Productions, Susan Egan's production company.
Yes. Yes. And yes. And yes.
3.
Well, yes.
Well, one who was a Broadway visiting artist in the cast, right?
Yeah. So we did. Ryan was a Broadway visiting artist in the cast. He was Hades. The other 2 were part of the Broadway Stars series.
But they were in the cast, weren't they?
No, they were not. Mm-mm.
Oh.
No.
Yeah.
See how much I was paying attention.
Yeah, no, see, so what Nathan and Alicia are talking about and what I'm talking about is there's in the Disney Cruise Line theater main stage cast, there is typically one person called the Broadway visiting artist, who is someone who has performed in a national tour, a Broadway show, or a West End production. And so they play on the Disney Destiny, they play Hades.
Yes, this was Ryan Knowles. He was Hades.
Yeah. But then in addition to that, on select sailings, Disney Cruise Line will bring on 2 Broadway Star Series artists, which are also kind of the same category. They've either been in national tours, Broadway productions, or West End productions, or sometimes more than one. And that is a separate company that contracts. That company is run by Susan Egan, and I can't remember the name of the other guy. Levy is his last name. But anyway, they send essentially usually 2 Broadway artists to do shows on board. So Alicia, tell us about these shows.
Yes. So we had Zach Bancal and Michael Malakel from Aladdin, basically. So Michael was Aladdin, and Zach originated the national touring role of Babcock. If you are not familiar with the Broadway Aladdin, there is no Abu the monkey. There is instead a trio of friends, Kasim, Babcock, and Omar. And Sterling was so stoked that these guys were on, because in one of his performances, he did High Adventure from Aladdin, which is the trio of friends doing the song. So Sterling and I saw the performance in the Walt Disney Theater, and it was amazing just hearing Zach and Michael go back and forth between songs, and they did a bunch of duets together. And Michael came down off stage and actually twirled Sterling around once, and oh my gosh, that made his day so much. And that was so much fun. And then Nathan and I saw the adult show. Sorry, that should be... we saw the age-restricted show.
When we say adult, we mean adult audience, not adult themed.
Disney racy. So
Yeah.
Right, exactly.
Like,
Not
where's
racy.
like it's like from Match Your Mate, where
Well, but even less so because these Broadway artists do not do anything racy. They're just doing Broadway songs that are not
no, it's more
Disney
like
Broadway
the jokes.
songs.
The jokes get a little
Yeah,
racy.
some of the jokes
Yeah.
get a little racy. Anyway, we did go to that, and Michael sang "Music of the Night" from Phantom of the Opera, and he could be my Phantom any day.
Nathan, watch out.
It was so good. Yeah.
I love it. I love it. Well, I gotta ask how the kids enjoyed this cruise. Kids, it's funny to say kids because Caitlin's 21, Sterling's 14, right? Or is he
Yep,
15?
almost
14.
15,
Yeah.
probably, or right around the time this comes out, it'll be close to 15.
Yeah. Oh my gosh. So he's almost 15. Yeah. Like, how did they enjoy the sailing in terms of activities, ports, what have you?
Yes. Caitlin enjoyed it. It's been a while since she's been on a ship. I asked her, what did you think of the style of ship? She's like, honestly, I didn't really notice a difference. I'm just like, oh my gosh. Okay, fine.
Whoa,
Whatever.
shots fired.
I will tell you that our Nathan doesn't really either. Like to him, he doesn't really care what class of ship we're on. He just needs to know where Edge is. And is it the one where it's on the pool deck? Is it the one where it's in the funnel? Is it the one where it's or I guess it's not in the funnel anymore, but you know what I mean? Yeah, he needs to know is it the back of the ship on deck 5? Like on the opposite side of Arendelle or whatever. Like he just needs to know where is Edge, and to him, other than that, it's all kind of the same.
I'm kind of with him. Like I don't care what cruise ship I'm on, as long as the funnel is red and there's a Mickey Mouse head on it. Like I'm good to go.
That's true. Sterling had a lot of fun. It was basically like, make sure you're here for dinners and the shows and then have fun, whatever. So they found some people. I saw them every once in a while, like out on deck or something like that, gallivanting around with friends that they've made. I think he prefers the older ships though. I don't know what it is about him. So he likes, I think he said the Dreamer, the Fantasy are his favorite. But anytime we're on a ship is a good time.
All right. Well, I know Brian wants to ask this next question, so I'm going to let him do that.
What's next? What do you got booked? I know you got something. You've probably got many things booked, but what do you got booked?
I mean, we know we know one of the things you have booked because it's booked with us.
Cruise? We only have one Disney cruise booked in the future right now, and we're sailing with you guys.
Itinerary. Yeah, there's an itinerary drop that's about to happen. So
that's true. Yes. So right now, our next Disney cruise is the DVC member cruise in April
with us,
with you guys. Yeah,
awesome.
Looking forward to that.
What have you guys other vacations planned though? But
what do you guys have? What do you guys have in terms of other Disney trips coming up that folks can maybe hear you talk about on your podcast?
Yeah, so as we're recording, we're in the middle of a bunch of trips. Actually, just finishing them up. We have a lot of stuff on the podcast right now about those trips, and then we're not going to D23 this year, but hopefully we'll have Scott Gustin on again to kind of debrief after that. So that'll be a lot of fun, and then we are actually sitting still. Evidently, my boss and my job wants me to show up for work. I don't know what that's all about.
What?
Yeah, whatever. But we are doing Christmas and New Year's in Hawaii, split stay, doing some island hopping. We will be on the Big Island for Christmas, and then we're hitting Aulani over New Year's, and very much looking forward to that.
You forgot our next thing, Nathan. You totally forgot our next thing. We're doing Oogie Boogie Bash in October.
Oh, yeah.
So excited for that.
Yeah. Very fun. Love that. Awesome.
So that's some of the stuff we have coming up. We are always looking out for our next cruise, though.
Well, Nathan, I know you said it up front, but why don't you remind folks where they can find and connect with you as we wind down here?
Absolutely. OurMousecapades.com is the best place to find us. We're on Instagram, Facebook, Threads. We do post our episodes over on YouTube, as I'm sure some of you can tell, or at least Sam and Brian know I have a face for radio. So we don't typically post our video just because that editing takes twice as long as audio, and I don't have that much time. So. But yeah, we're kind of everywhere you want us to be. OurMousecapades.com.
Great. Well, as always, I want to thank you both for taking some time out of your day to spend with us and our audience. And we always love hearing about your adventures. So with that, we'll just say thank you for spending some time with us. We really, really appreciate it.
Thank you.
Thanks for having us back.
All right, that's our show for tonight, but thank you so much for listening. If you're not subscribed yet, please fix that right now. Head over to Apple Podcasts or wherever you listen to podcasts. Hit that subscribe button. We're dropping at least 2 episodes a week. Plus, we're live each and every week over on our YouTube channel, youtube.com/DCLDuo. Come hang out with us for a live. It's a blast. You can ask your questions in the chat and really join the conversation with us and our guests. If you're enjoying our show, one of the easiest ways to support the show, head over to Apple Podcasts, hit those 5 stars, and while you're at it, leave us a written review with your 5-star review, and we will read it on the air at the top of one of our main episodes. If you're listening to us on another platform, Spotify, YouTube, Castos, there's so many third-party podcast apps and players out there. Whatever form of review or rating they have, give it all to us. Show the show some love. It keeps us going, keeps us putting out great content week to week. Are you ready to set sail? Book your next Disney Cruise Line vacation with our show sponsor, We Do Travel Right, the crew that handles the planning so you can focus on relaxing. Head to wedotravelright.com/DCLDuo today to get started, or you can reach out to them directly. Just let them know the DCL Duo sent you. Subscribe today to DCL Magazine. They put out a great product. Head over there. It's your go-to guide for DCL tips and tricks. Just browse to DCL-magazine.com. That's DCL-magazine.com and use code DCL Duo, all caps DCL Duo today for 10% off everything in the WDW Magazine store. And if you want to directly support the show, join us on Patreon at patreon.com/DCL Duo. That's patreon.com/DCL Duo. Every pledge helps us keep bringing you great DCL content every week. Want more from us? Just head over to DCLDuo.com where you will find links to our full episode catalog, our vlog, our Etsy store, our Patreon, our Substack newsletter, and our show sponsors all in one place. Or you can email us at info@dclduo.com or leave us a voicemail at 402-413-5590. That's 402-413-5590. The views expressed in this podcast are our own and do not reflect the views of the Walt Disney Company, Disney Cruise Line, or any other travel provider discussed or mentioned. Thanks again for listening. We'll see you next time for another fabulous adventure with the DCL Duo. Good night.